Talking about James Pattinson, I'll get Deano in on this. Not that Indian fans are complaining, but just 6 overs to the start of the day. Could you explain that? Why?
Well, he was out in November with the side strain, and they've been using him quite slowly coming into matches, into first-class matches. He only bowled 20 overs in a game against South Australia, and only 20 overs in another match. So he's coming to this game here, but for the life of me, if he doesn't have a niggle why he's only bowled 6 overs and have 3 wickets, I'm a bit dumbfounded, a bit shocked really, but India will take it and then move on. But he was impressive today, wasn't he? I must admit I didn't have him in my 11, but once you start to bowl the ball over 140 kilometres, Murali Vijay and Sehwag will start to tell you that he's damn hard work to face, and he was brilliant. So, but all in all, and you're only a couple of wickets away, and this match can turn. But I tell you what, India were just fantastic the last 2 sessions. They really were. Right.
You talk about bowling over 140 clicks. That makes a big difference. Probably that's the reason why the Indian pacers were not very successful. Sunny bhai, also apart from that speed, did you also see a variation in length compared to the Australian fast bowlers and Indian fast bowlers? Probably the Australians bowling a little fuller.
Yes, I think if you saw the wickets that fell today, you will find that the Australians were bowling a much fuller length. Yes, they were taken for a few runs as well when they pitched it up, but that when you have a cushion of 380 runs, then I think you're quite prepared to give a few boundaries, so long as you can get the ball to move and defeat the batsman, and that can happen when you bowl a fuller length. So yes, I think they certainly bowl a much fuller length than the Indians, and like Deano, I'm completely baffled as to why he was given spells of 3 and 3 overs. Particularly when you've taken a wicket, then you need to give him another over. After that 4th over, he could have been taken off. Tendulkar hit him for 12 runs, but he had just come into bat. Another over from Pattinson would have been just right. But I guess this is what this new thing called biomechanics is.
I've got to actually say straight away, Sonny, you're 100% correct, and you have to be brave on these type of pitches to bowl the right length. And the Australians back that. And sure, when you bowl 145 and 150 clicks, they're hard work. And you know better than anyone, Sonny, when you face the greatest West Indians of all time. But also, Ashwin was brave. Ashwin was brave in the way he bowled and what lengths, where the Australians, or particularly Lyon, was way too short. And so was Harbhajan and the other spinners. You've got to be brave in bowling certain lengths on these type of pitches.
Right. Talking about Lyon, that's a different matter that you thought he got Sachin Tendulkar out today, but we're not talking about that currently. Sunny bhai, let's talk about the man we always love to talk about, Sachin Tendulkar. Watching him bat today, did he remind you of the vintage Sachin?
Well, he was very good. Vintage Sachin, I think, was unmatchable. And you've got to accept the fact that he's 39, and you obviously can't bat as he batted when he was 23, 24. But what he did today was still very, very, very good. And it was quite interesting to see the way he was more positive in his footwork than in the England series. Obviously, he's had a look at his dismissals in the England series, realized that that stride had to be a little bit much more forward, and he's worked on it. And you can't play for 23 years unless you think about your batting, how to get better. And I'm hoping that he'll live up to what he usually does at Chepauk. He's got 500s and 1 half century in 10 test matches. Right. And that's an awesome record. I hope he adds to that.
Right. So in a sense, he was looking like the Sachin Tendulkar of old, but one man who wasn't looking like himself was Virendra Sehwag today. Completely clueless is what he looked like on the crease. The spectacles clearly aren't doing him any good, Sunny bhai.
Well, but if he needs them, he's got to wear them. There's nothing. There's no avoiding the fact that if your eyesight's, if your optician says that you need that, then you got to do it. Unfortunately, I don't think he's had enough time to get used to that. It's not easy to get used to something like that. So maybe that's what's giving him a bit of bother. I don't know how many matches he's played in the interim period after the England series was finished, and he was not picked for the one-day matches. So whether he had got his eyes checked in. But this is just the first innings, so let's be a little patient with him as well.
Right. Very interesting point he talks about that. Don't know how much time he got to get used to them. In a situation like that, would it be better to continue playing the way you used to, avoid the spectacles, just play on instinct the way you used to?
Yeah, and you nailed it right there, Nikhil, because he's just been absolutely awesome as a player. And what I've loved is his carefree attitude, the way he goes at the ball, and just if the ball's there, first ball, he's going to smash it. At the moment, He looks a little bit heavy. Where you look at Sachin, he looks fit, tight, terrific. Where he looks a bit heavy. And the first thing it goes, and Sonny will back me up here, at the end of your career, is that you're fielding. And he looked a bit sluggish in the field as well. And this is where he's got to be really sharpen up. If he wants to play cricket, Test cricket and one-day cricket and do well in T20s the next 2 to 3 years, he's got to get quicker, faster and better. And today, he was a bit stiff. Sonny agree with that. He's a bit stiff the way he got out today, but just not quite the same. And he's got to be brave and just still play the same way as he always has. So, but I think he can just sharpen his skills up a little.
Right. Valid observations there by VVS Lakshman. Anyway, I'll get you in on that. Simple question. Do you think the skipper's underbowled Harbhajan Singh?
Yes, I think he underbowled him because I think somewhere down yesterday after the post-tee session he could have been given a short spell, 3-4 overs, just to see how he was bowling. I know he had been not very impressive in the session till tea time, but you know, people who've got 400 plus wickets, they can suddenly strike a rhythm, and that's what could have been tried yesterday. And even today, I think it was quite a while before he was brought in to bowl.
Do you sometimes feel, because you were a skipper too, skippers sometimes go by instinct? You pick a player and you back him, and sometimes you're not very confident about a player. And I only say this because even the last test match, the Mumbai test that Harbhajan played, got only 19 overs.
Yes, you go by instinct about a certain player, and you go by instinct when a player has played a lot of matches and suddenly is out of form. That's when you go more by instinct that, look, I think this guy is going to just needs that one little change of luck for him to come back to the kind of form that has made him play so much of cricket. So yes, skippers and selection committees sometimes go with that.
Right. Deano, I'm going to ask you, because you mentioned yesterday that let's talk about Harbhajan at the end of the match, not now. But like VVS mentioned, if you need him to pick wickets in the second innings, you have to give him that confidence. Do you think he'll have the confidence after the skippers underbowled him?
We as humans remember what we've done in the last half. We think about Sonny as a great player, and obviously he was, and what he's done in the last half of his career, because we can't, with all respect, we can't remember a hell of a lot in his first part. And same goes with Sachin. And the same goes about your cricket in a day's play. Today, we're walking off the ground thinking the momentum has gone towards India's Kohli and Tendulkar were brilliant. What I take away from Harbhajan, he bowled really well today. I thought he had a bit more bubble in the way he bowled compared to yesterday. He got through the crease a little bit more. I think he worried a few of our guys a little bit more. A couple of times, about 3 or 4 deliveries to Michael Clarke.
So should he been given a few more overs then, if he was bowling well? But especially after he picked up the wicket, was removed quickly after another over.
Yeah, but sometimes you also got to tell your senior players they need a foot in the backside occasionally. He didn't bowl that well in the first inning, or early part.
So he paid for what he did in day one.
But he'll come out. I honestly believe he's got a big role to play in this series, and I would back him if I was MS Dhoni.